Have you noticed it? The sudden hush where a loud hunger used to live. The urge that once tugged at your body now feels distant, like a voice calling from another room. You've wondered if something is wrong with you, if you've lost a part of yourself, if this quiet is a sign of brokenness. But listen closely. What looks like absence in the flesh is often evidence of activity in the spirit. This isn't a malfunction. It's a message, not a deficiency, a directive. When the noise goes down, it's so the signal can come through. You aren't falling apart. You're being recalibrated. Most people will never understand this shift because they only know how to measure life by appetite. They think desire equals aliveness, that the body's volume button determines the soul's worth. But you are not most people. You have always felt slightly out of place in rooms where pleasure was the point and performance was the prize. You have sensed, quietly at first, then with growing certainty, that you were fashioned for something more than the next rush, the next text, the next temporary high. And now the evidence is undeniable. The pull toward distraction has weakened, and the pull toward purpose has awakened. The world calls that loss. Heaven calls it clearance. What's happening inside you is not random biology or cold indifference. It is spiritual surgery carried out with gentle precision. A hand you cannot see has lifted you out of a cycle you did not know was draining you and is positioning you for work you cannot accomplish while your attention is divided. It's not that your humanity is being erased, it's that your hierarchy is being reordered. Spirit first. Clarity before chemistry. Calling above craving. The part of you that once chased touch to feel alive is learning to breathe from within, to live by a different oxygen. Peace, vision, presence. God. If you look back honestly, the pattern has been there all along. Moments that used to ignite you now feel dull. Conversations that once thrilled you now leave you tired. Flirtation that once seemed like fire now reads like static. You haven't gone numb, you've grown wise. The pleasure that asked for your attention has been replaced by a purpose that asks for your allegiance, and when purpose calls, the soul will not be satisfied with scraps. It wants a clean table, clear air, quiet hands, space for something holy to be built. Here's the truth that sets your heart at ease. You're not being punished. You're being preserved. There are seasons when God shields his vessels, placing a covering over the parts of us most easily entangled so the deeper work can be completed without interference. In that shelter, appetites soften and listening sharpens. In that shelter, you learn to tell the difference between chemistry and covenant, between attention and alignment, between being wanted and being truly seen. And once you know the difference, you will never trade your peace for a pulse again. Let's name the ache with compassion. There are evenings when you miss the loudness, when you long for the old electricity just to prove to yourself you're still alive. There are memories that call you back with a sweet voice and a bitter aftertaste. There are moments when other people's stories, fast, flashy, in love, make you wonder whether stillness is a flaw. But stay with me. The silence inside you is not a void, it is a sanctuary. You're not empty, you're being entrusted. The energy that once spilled outward is being gathered inward, condensed into focus, shaped into authority. And authority cannot be formed in chaos. What comes next is not condemnation, but clarity. We will walk, step by step, through why this quiet descended on you now, why it is a mark of calling rather than failure, why the body's hush is the soul's turning point. You will see how desire, when surrendered, becomes fuel, how solitude, when honored, becomes strategy, how purity, when chosen, becomes power. This journey will not shame your past or demonize your biology. It will simply restore the order that brings life. Appetite under assignment, fire under wisdom, love under light. Before we go deeper, seal your intention with 2 simple acts. If something in you is already resonating, if you feel that inner yes you can't explain, comment 111 right now. Let it mean this: I align with divine truth. I welcome holy recalibration. I choose clarity over compulsion. Writing it is not superstition, it's agreement. And subscribe, tap the bell, so you don't miss the next steps. This is not a clip to sample and forget. It's a path to walk. I'll guide you through every layer, one revelation at a time, so your spirit stays nourished and your mind stays steady. Take a slow breath. Release the urgency to feel like you used to. Release the fear that quiet means broken. Place your hand over your heart and notice it, the steadiness, the room being made, the weight being lifted. You are not losing yourself. You are meeting your truest self without the static. You are not becoming less. You are becoming precise. In a moment, we will begin with the first unveiling. Why the fading of appetite is not the end of passion, but the redirection of power. How attention, once scattered, becomes a stream strong enough to move mountains when it is pointed at purpose. Stay with me. Your story is not shrinking, it is being refined. Your light is not dimming, it is focusing. Chosen one, what you are experiencing is not random, and it is certainly not a flaw. The quieting of your sex drive is not the malfunction of your body, it is the recalibration of your destiny. You have been set apart for something sacred, and because of that, the energy that once rushed outward into cravings is now being redirected inward, condensed, purified, and aimed toward purpose. To the natural eye, it feels like loss, but to the spiritual eye, it is gain. Let us look closely at what has really been happening inside you. For much of your life, desire has acted like a compass. It has steered your attention, your decisions, your relationships, and even the way you saw yourself. Desire is one of the most powerful forces on earth. It can build homes, but it can also burn down kingdoms. It motivates people to chase, to risk, to compromise, to strive for things that once obtained often fade into dust. And for most people, that endless cycle of hunger and satisfaction is all they will ever know. But you are not most people. You are chosen, and chosen ones cannot live chained to the impulses of the flesh. That is why you feel different now. Situations that used to stir you now leave you cold. Attractions that once seemed irresistible now seem shallow. You try to explain it to yourself. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's age, but none of those explanations fit. Because the truth is not physical, it is spiritual. God has stepped in, quietly but decisively, and has begun the process of liberating you from appetites that once dictated your path. What you thought was your engine was actually your leash, and the one who called you refused to let you remain, tied to cravings that could pull you off course. Pause for a moment and notice the shift in your inner appetite. You no longer crave the attention that once fed your ego. You no longer crave the fleeting intimacy that left you emptier than before. You no longer crave the chaos of passion that disguised itself as love. Instead, you crave peace. You crave silence. You crave meaning. You crave God. And that change, though unsettling at first, is the greatest evidence that you are being elevated. Because here is the secret. Attention is the currency of creation. Wherever your focus goes, your life follows. And sexual desire, though created by God for good within covenant, is one of the strongest magnets for attention. It can consume thought, imagination, and energy. But when God wants to grow something eternal inside of you, He begins by reclaiming your attention. He silences the noise so you can hear His whisper. He quiets the cravings so you can feel His presence. He lowers the volume of the flesh so the melody of your purpose can rise without distortion. Chosen one, this shift is not the death of passion, it is the redirection of passion. What you used to pour into desire is now being poured into destiny. That fire has not gone out. It has simply been moved. Think of it like water rerouted through new channels. The river did not dry up, it was diverted. And now, instead of flooding fields that bore no fruit, it is irrigating the soil of your calling. This redirection also sharpens your discernment. When your life was governed by craving, it was easy to mistake chemistry for covenant, lust for love, validation for vision. But now, with the noise silenced, you see more clearly. You can sense motives beneath smiles. You can feel energies behind words. You can detect emptiness behind appearances. This is not paranoia. It is perception. God has given you clarity that others cannot see because your focus is no longer hijacked by hunger. And let me tell you why this matters so much. Because you carry a calling. Your time, your heart, and your energy cannot be wasted on detours. A wrong relationship is not just a personal inconvenience for you, it is a spiritual derailment. And so God, in His mercy, has been protecting you by lowering the volume of your cravings. He knows that desire, when left unchecked, can lure even the strongest soul into compromise. So He has intervened, not because you are weak, but because your mission is too important. This season of quiet is also training you in discipline. To master desire is to master direction. Most people spend their lives being dragged by urges they cannot control, tossed like waves between appetite and regret. But not you. You are being forged in silence. You are learning to live without the leash. And in mastering yourself, you are gaining authority to master greater assignments. God always trains His warriors privately before He reveals them publicly. And your training ground is this: to live led by the Spirit, not by the flesh. Yes, there are moments of frustration. There are nights when you long for the old spark, the familiar pulse, the thrill of being wanted. There are days when you wonder if life will ever feel the same again. But the truth is, you were not meant to feel the same. You were meant to be changed. The person you once were could not carry the weight of the calling you are stepping into. The one who needed desire to feel alive has been buried, and in their place stands someone new, a vessel lit not by craving but by clarity. Think of the wilderness stories of Scripture. Moses stripped of Egypt's luxuries, silenced in the desert until he could hear the fire in the bush. Paul blinded on the Damascus road, cut off from sight so he could finally see. Even Jesus, fasting 40 days, the cravings of the body silenced, so the authority of the Spirit could rise. In every case, the body's hunger was quieted, so the soul's power could be revealed. You walk that same path now. Chosen one, your low sex drive is not the end of your fire. It is the ignition of a new flame. This is not the flicker of fleeting pleasure, but the blaze of lasting purpose. You are not broken, you are being built. You are not empty, you are being filled. The body has stepped back so the spirit can step forward. And in that sacred exchange, you are becoming more human than ever before. Not a body with a soul, but a soul guiding a body. So when the silence feels heavy, remind yourself, this is my preparation. This is my redirection. This is God shifting me from pleasure to purpose. Say it until you believe it. Live it until it becomes natural. Because once you see this shift for what it is, you will never again confuse loss with promotion. And you will never again fear the quiet. Because you will know the quiet is where destiny speaks loudest. Chosen. 1. What you are experiencing is not just a pause in your physical desire, it is a sacred initiation. This is not about hormones, age, or fatigue. This is about heaven itself pulling you into a mystery that few have the courage to walk. You are being invited into a season of divine celibacy, not as a punishment, not as a shame-driven command, but as a holy rite of passage. You are stepping into the same current that carried prophets into clarity, that shielded healers before their unveiling, that refined leaders before their voices shook nations. What feels like absence is actually sacred consecration. Let us clear the air here. Celibacy in this context is not about repression, nor is it about fear of intimacy. It is about protection and preparation. God is not trying to strip you of joy. He is trying to preserve your power. He is saying, before I can entrust you with influence, before I can place weight on your shoulders, before I can release your voice into the world, I must ensure your vessel is untainted by cravings that could weaken your foundation. This is why he has hushed the body. This is why he has placed you behind the curtain of solitude. Throughout history, we see the same rhythm. Before Moses led a nation, he wandered hidden in the desert. Before David became king, he shepherded in silence. Before Jesus began his ministry, he fasted 40 days in the wilderness. In each case, the body was quieted, appetites were denied, and solitude was imposed, not as abandonment, but as preparation. And you now walk the same path. The body has been silenced so that your spirit can be sharpened. This initiation comes with phases. First, confusion. You wonder if something is wrong. You test yourself against old memories, but the spark doesn't ignite. Then, resistance. You may try to force yourself back into patterns that once thrilled you, but they now feel hollow. After resistance comes surrender, accepting that the silence is not weakness but holiness. And finally, alignment, when you no longer crave what was lost, because what you've gained is far greater. Peace becomes sweeter than passion, purpose feels stronger than desire, and presence, the presence of God, becomes enough. And here is the mystery. In divine celibacy, your energy does not disappear. It is transmuted. What once surged as hunger now flows as insight. What once stirred as craving now rises as clarity. This is why your dreams feel sharper, your prayers heavier, your intuition louder. Your vessel is being rewired to hold light instead of lust. Where once you were driven by body, now you are driven by spirit. And that is a level of mastery most never reach because most never surrender. Chosen one, you may feel misunderstood. Others might wonder what's wrong with you. They may whisper, they may joke, they may even pity you. But you must know, you are not less alive. You are more alive than ever, just on a frequency they cannot hear. They see silence, but heaven sees strategy. They see absence, but heaven sees assignment. You are being hidden because your glow is too precious to be exposed prematurely. And there is another gift hidden here, authority over yourself. The one who learns to master the body learns to master destiny. God is teaching you that your worth is not tied to your desirability, your value is not tied to your intimacy, and your identity is not tied to who notices you. You are whole without being touched, radiant without being pursued, powerful without being validated. This is divine celibacy's true crown. Not the absence of something, but the abundance of self. So what do you do in this season? You lean in. You stop asking when desire will return and start asking what this silence is building. You treat your body not as broken, but as holy ground. You fill your hours with presence, with prayer, with creativity, with purpose. You protect your energy like treasure. And you remember that this initiation is temporary. It will last only as long as needed to purify and prepare you for the next chapter. Before we move forward, pause and seal this moment. If this truth resonates with you, if you can feel that what is happening in your life is not random but divine, write in the comments, I accept my sacred preparation. Let it be your public agreement with what God is doing in secret. And as you write it, you remind yourself and the world that you are not confused, you are not abandoned, you are not broken. You are chosen, and you are being refined for greater glory. So take heart. The absence of desire is not emptiness. It is fullness waiting to bloom. It is your initiation into the mysteries of purity, power, and presence. Few will walk this path, but those who do emerge carrying fire. And you, chosen one, are walking it right now. Chosen one, the silence you feel in your body is not emptiness, it is redirection. What once moved through you as desire is not gone, it has been reassigned. The fire that once burned in your lower self has been lifted upward into realms of vision, creativity, prophecy, and divine sensitivity. You are being rewired, not just emotionally, not just mentally, but energetically. Every fiber of your being, every spiritual current within you is being tuned for a higher assignment. Ancient wisdom, whether spoken by prophets, sages, or mystics, has always known this. Sexual energy is not only physical, it is the raw fuel of life itself. It creates not only bodies, but realities. It generates not only pleasure, but power. And when that power is misused or scattered, the soul grows weak, drained, tethered to cycles that suffocate purpose. But when it is transmuted, lifted, preserved, redirected, it becomes the spark of vision, the current of revelation, the electricity of spiritual authority. That is what God is doing within you right now. Your body may feel quieter, but your spirit is louder. You may not long for touch, but you long for truth. You may not crave intimacy of flesh, but you crave intimacy of spirit. This is evidence that the current has shifted. Desire has not died. It has ascended. What once lived below the surface has risen toward the crown. Have you noticed how much more sensitive you have become? Conversations that once felt harmless now exhaust you if they are shallow. Crowds that once energized you now leave you depleted. Even entertainment, images, or music that once filled the silence now feel like noise, irritating your spirit. This is because your energy body is no longer calibrated for distraction. You are operating at a higher voltage. What feels like sensitivity is actually strength. It is discernment sharpened to the point of discomfort. This rewiring can feel strange. One day you feel light, almost as though you are floating above ordinary concerns. The next day you feel heavy, burdened, restless with energy that seems to have nowhere to go. These fluctuations are not mood swings, they are signs of a system recalibrating. Think of it like spiritual muscles being stretched into new shapes. The ache is proof of growth. The restlessness is proof of rising capacity. You are being prepared to carry more light, more insight, more of God's presence than ever before. And notice what is happening to your dreams. They are becoming sharper, more vivid, sometimes even prophetic. The quiet in your body has created volume in your inner world. Heaven now has an uncluttered channel through which to speak. Pay attention. The images that visit you in the night, the whispers you hear in the stillness, the sudden clarity that comes when you pray, these are not random. They are downloads, signals that your rewiring is working. But here is the hidden mercy in all this: protection. When your energy body is being rewired, God often places an invisible barrier around you. People who once gravitated toward you for lust or distraction no longer approach. You may even feel invisible in settings where you used to receive attention. Don't mistake this for rejection, it is insulation. Heaven has placed a firewall around your spirit so that your new wiring is not short-circuited by unworthy connections. This is also why soul ties of the past may feel like they are dissolving. Those lingering thoughts, those echoes of old attachments, are being severed. Your system can no longer sustain connections that are out of alignment with your calling. It is painful, yes, but it is also freedom. Each severed tie makes more room for your spirit to breathe, for your body to hold its new charge, for your energy to remain whole. Think of yourself as a temple under renovation. Old wiring is being stripped out, not because it was never useful, but because it cannot carry the voltage required for what comes next. You are being upgraded to hold divine fire. That means your circuits must be pure, unclogged, and strong enough to withstand the current. And this process requires stillness, solitude, and surrender. So what should you do in this phase? First, honor your sensitivity. When you feel drained by certain people or environments, listen. Your system is telling you the truth. Protect your peace like sacred treasure. Second, cultivate silence. The more still you are, the clearer the signals become. Meditate, breathe, pray, journal. Let the energy find new pathways without distraction. And third, trust the process. Rewiring is not comfortable, but it is holy. The pressure you feel is proof of transformation. Chosen one, your sex drive did not vanish. It evolved. It shifted upward. It was reclaimed by heaven and reassigned to purpose. You are no longer a vessel of scattered impulses. You are becoming a conduit of divine electricity. And soon, when this process is complete, you will walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere without a word. You will carry presence that convicts, comforts, and clarifies simply by being there. That is what this rewiring is preparing you for. So, don't resist the silence in your body. Don't resent the sensitivity of your spirit. Don't fight the transformation. Welcome it. Protect it. Celebrate it. Because it means you are being prepared to hold a light that will not only guide you but guide others. And when you wonder why this had to happen, why desire had to fade, remember this. God saw that you were ready to be more than flesh. He saw that you could be trusted with fire. And so he rewired you, not to break you, but to build you into the vessel of light you were always meant to be. Chosen one, listen closely, for this truth runs deeper than many dare to imagine. When God silenced your desires, he was not merely quieting your body, he was fortifying your soul. He was raising a wall of protection around your spirit so high, so strong, that unseen forces could no longer breach it. What may have felt like a lack, like emptiness, was actually a divine firewall designed to guard you from connections that could have destroyed you. We must begin with an eternal truth. Intimacy is never just physical. Every time bodies unite, spirits exchange. It is not simply skin meeting skin. It is soul touching soul, essence binding with essence. Scripture speaks of two becoming one flesh, and while the world reads that as poetry, heaven reveals it as law. When you lie with someone, you do not only share pleasure, you inherit fragments of their spirit, their struggles, their energies, even their curses. That invisible tether is what we call a soul tie. And soul ties are not broken by time, distance, or silence. They linger, echo, pulling at your spirit long after the body has walked away. This is why God stepped in. He knew your soul was too absorbent, too sensitive, too sacred to be linked carelessly. He knew that even one moment of misplaced intimacy could tether you to wounds that were not yours, battles that were not meant for you, darkness you were never called to fight. And so, in his mercy, he closed the gates. He hushed the cravings. He locked your temple until the right key arrives. What you mistook for rejection was preservation. What you thought was failure was insulation. Think of the relationships that almost happened but never did. The sparks that lit quickly only to vanish. The attractions that felt magnetic but evaporated overnight. You may have blamed yourself, wondered why it never worked, felt the sting of doors slamming shut. But do you see it now? Those were rescues. Every no you received was a yes to your protection. Every person who left was a shield standing between you and unseen contamination. Heaven saw the spirits you could not see, and heaven chose for you, and oh, how subtle contamination can be. It is not always a dramatic battle of good versus evil. Sometimes it comes disguised as charm, beauty, romance, or friendship. You think you are opening yourself to love, but in truth, you are opening yourself to trauma. You think you are receiving intimacy, but you are also inheriting fear, addiction, bitterness, or confusion that was never yours. And once a soul tie is formed, it is not easily undone. Many live their entire lives weighed down by the residue of bonds they never should have made. But you, chosen one, were spared that fate. Do not resent the silence in your body. It is a shield. Do not grieve the absence of desire. It is armor. When you walk into rooms and feel invisible, when people overlook you while others are constantly pursued, do not envy them. You are not overlooked, you are hidden. Hidden not because you are unworthy, but because you are priceless. Hidden not because no one sees you, but because only the right one may. God has wrapped you in obscurity to keep you from being consumed by the wrong hands. And think about this. How many nights have you felt the urge rise, only for it to vanish suddenly, inexplicably, like smoke in the wind? That is no accident. That is divine intervention. Angels stationed at the gates of your destiny, saying, "Not here, not now, not them." Heaven is policing your passions, so your soul remains untangled, ready for the assignments ahead. You must also understand the spiritual strategy of the enemy. He knows he cannot destroy you outright, for God's hand covers you. So what does he attempt? He sends counterfeits. People who look right but are wrong. People who appear safe but carry poison in their spirit. People who ignite your body only to entrap your soul. And had God not removed your desire, you might have fallen for the bait. But he silenced your hunger so you could survive the trap. This is not deprivation, it is deliverance. Chosen one, your purity is not fragility, it is power. Every time, God kept you from forming a bond. He preserved the sharpness of your discernment, the weight of your authority, the wholeness of your vessel. Without that purity, your calling would have been diluted, your energy drained, your spirit clouded. But now you stand clearer, stronger, uncorrupted. You are not carrying the weight of battles that were never yours. You are light, free, whole. This is why you must never despise your solitude. Celebrate it. Thank God for the relationships that never took root, for the cravings that died before they led you astray, for the emptiness that saved you from entanglement. Every silence was a sword drawn on your behalf. Every absence was a victory you could not see. Every time you wondered, why didn't it work? Heaven whispered, because I love you too much to let you break. And if you need proof, look back. Recall the times you felt drained after being around certain people. Remember how your prayers felt heavy, your dreams dimmed, your peace disturbed. That was contamination. That was your essence leaking out into vessels unworthy of it. But notice how those people are no longer in your life. Notice how the desire that tied you to them vanished. That is not coincidence. That is cleansing. God saw what you did not and cut the tie for you. So hear this clearly. Your lack of desire is not dysfunction, it is discernment. Your silence is not emptiness, it is insulation. You are being guarded because you are chosen, and chosen ones cannot afford to be careless with their essence. From this day forward, reframe your solitude. Every time you feel untouched, know that you are untouchable. Every time you feel unpursued, know that you are protected. Every time you feel unseen, know that heaven sees you and has hidden you for its own purposes. You are not broken, you are preserved. You are not abandoned, You are armored. And when the time comes, when the one who is aligned in spirit approaches, your body will awaken in safety. Your desire will return under covenant, uncorrupted, holy, pure. But until then, rest in the shield that surrounds you. The absence you feel is not a curse. It is your covering. Chosen one. If you have wondered why your world feels stripped down, why your cravings have gone silent, why people have faded from your life and comforts no longer soothe you, it is because you are in the wilderness phase. And let me tell you this with conviction, the wilderness is not punishment. It is preparation. The wilderness is where God hides his chosen ones when he is ready to refine them for assignments that require unshakable strength. Look through the scriptures and you will see the same pattern repeated. Before glory, there is wilderness. Before promise, there is silence. Before release, there is refinement. Moses spent 40 years in Midian before leading Israel. Elijah hid by the brook and in the caves before confronting kings. John the Baptist grew up in the desert before preparing the way. Even Jesus himself was led into the wilderness to fast, to be tested, and to emerge in power. None were exempt, and neither are you. The wilderness is God's classroom. Here, distractions are stripped away so your ears can finally hear him. The noise of desire, the hunger of flesh, the comfort of companionship, all of it grows quiet, leaving you face to face with the only voice that matters. At first, it feels unbearable. You may ask, why am I here? Why does everything feel dead? Why does nothing stir me anymore? But the truth is, you are not surrounded by death. You are surrounded by fire. The wilderness is not a grave. It is a forge. You are not being buried. You are being planted. And this is why your sex drive has gone silent. Because the wilderness does not feed flesh. It trains spirit. Hunger of the body is quieted, so hunger of the soul can awaken. You may feel like a shadow of who you once were, but in truth, you are becoming the truest version of yourself. The wilderness strips away the illusion so your essence can emerge unmasked. Pay close attention to how God moves in this season. People you leaned on will disappear. Doors you thought were permanent will close. Habits you once enjoyed will feel like chains. This is not coincidence. It is cutting. God is cutting away everything that cannot go with you to the next level. He is cleansing your vessel of residue, healing you of wounds you did not even know you carried, and pruning your life until only the essential remains. This process is not painless. Refinement never is. Gold does not gleam until it has been melted. A sword is not sharp until it has been hammered, and a spirit is not strong until it has been tested. You may cry in this phase, you may doubt, you may wonder if God has abandoned you. But let this truth anchor you. The wilderness is not the absence of God. It is the intensification of his presence. He is closer than ever, even if he feels silent, because silence itself is his tool. When he wants to reveal the deepest lessons, he quiets every other voice so his can resound in your soul. Chosen one, you must resist the temptation to escape this phase. Many run from the wilderness. They mislabel it as depression, as failure, as loneliness. They rush back into relationships, into distractions, into noise just to feel alive again. But those who flee the wilderness never receive its power. Do not be among them. Stay. Sit in the silence. Endure the fire. Because what you gain here, you will carry forever. Think of it this way. The wilderness is spiritual weight training. Every day you walk through its silence, your spirit is lifting unseen burdens, strengthening invisible muscles, building endurance for the calling ahead. When you emerge, you will not simply return to normal life. You will carry authority that others cannot explain. You will speak and people will feel weight in your words. You will walk into rooms and atmospheres will shift, not because of charisma, not because of effort, but because you endured the wilderness. This is also the place where God breaks dependence. In the wilderness, there is no partner to lean on, no crowd to applaud you, no comforts to numb the ache. There is only you and Him. And in that raw space, you learn that He is enough. That lesson is the anchor of your calling. Because once you know God is enough, you cannot be bribed by attention, seduced by validation, or weakened by rejection. You stand whole, and wholeness is unstoppable. So what should you do in this phase? First, accept it. Stop fighting to feel what God has already removed. Stop digging for old desires that He buried for your safety. Instead, lean into the stillness. Wake early and sit in prayer. Read words that feed your soul. Fast when the Spirit nudges you. Journal your revelations, even when they feel small. These practices will deepen your roots and train you to hear His voice with clarity. Second, guard your solitude. Not everyone should have access to you in this season. Some will not understand what you are carrying. Others will try to pull you back into the cycles you've escaped. Protect your space like sacred ground. Do not apologize for being unavailable to noise. Your silence is holy. And third, trust the timing. The wilderness does not last forever. Every wilderness has an end, and when yours comes, you will walk out carrying power you could not have received any other way. You will not be the same person. You will be sharper, stronger, lighter, clearer. You will look back and realize that the loneliness was actually intimacy. The silence was actually instruction, and the emptiness was actually preparation. Chosen. 1. If you feel stripped, isolated, misunderstood, know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The wilderness is your forge, and the fire that feels unbearable now will soon become the light that leads others. Do not despise this phase. Embrace it, because it is here, in this place of silence and refinement, that you are being shaped into the vessel God has destined you to be. Chosen one, now we arrive at the deepest mystery of this entire journey. You are being remade, not as a creature bound by flesh, but as a vessel of light. This is why your body has grown quiet. This is why your cravings have dissolved. This is why your identity feels like it is being rewritten. God is not just silencing desire, He is birthing divinity within you. From the beginning, humanity has struggled with the weight of flesh. Hunger, lust, vanity, fear. These have always been the chains that keep people earthbound. But you, beloved one, are being lifted beyond that gravity. You are being shown what it means to live not from the outside in, but from the inside out. No longer defined by appetite, no longer ruled by longing, no longer imprisoned by the need to be touched, wanted, or validated. You are learning that the truest form of life flows from within, not from without. Think of the way light behaves. Light does not need permission to shine. It does not beg to be seen. It simply radiates, and in doing so, it changes everything around it. Darkness flees, colors emerge, clarity returns. That is what you are becoming, not someone who chases presence, but someone who is presence, not someone who seeks fire, but someone who carries it. This is why the absence of sexual desire is not weakness, it is transfiguration. The energy that once pulled you outward is now rising inward. It glows in your prayers, it burns in your words, it hums in your silence. People will encounter you and feel something they cannot explain. Some will feel peace, others will feel conviction. A few will feel discomfort. Why? Because light exposes, reveals, uncovers. You will no longer have to argue about who you are or what you carry. Your presence will speak louder than your lips. And yet, this transformation is not glamorous. It is costly. To be made into light means to endure exposure. You cannot hide from yourself anymore. Every shadow of insecurity, every scar of the past, every hidden motive will rise to the surface so it can be purified. God is not interested in giving you a glow that masks darkness. He is committed to giving you a light that destroys it. That is why this season feels so raw, so unrelenting. The fire is not burning you down, it is burning you clean. Have you noticed how the old self no longer fits? The conversations that once entertained you now feel hollow. The circles you once craved now feel draining. The pleasures you once longed for now feel cheap. That is because your frequency has changed. You are no longer a flesh-led being dabbling in spirit. You are a spirit-led being who still happens to wear flesh. And the flesh cannot lead where the spirit is going. Chosen one, your body is not being abandoned. It is being redefined. The very temple that once betrayed you with cravings is now being renovated into a sanctuary of clarity. Your eyes are sharper. You see deception before it speaks. Your ears are keener. You hear warnings in whispers others ignore. Your heart is purer. You can sense motives before masks slip. These are not coincidences. They are signs of your vessel glowing with divine electricity. But here is the greatest truth. You are no longer dependent on others for your wholeness. You don't need attention to feel alive. You don't need desire to feel complete. You don't need romance to feel chosen, because you are chosen. And chosen ones radiate whether they are celebrated or not. They glow whether they are held or not. Their worth is not borrowed, it is built into their being. Let me tell you something profound. When you walk into a room, atmospheres will shift. Not because of your appearance, but because of your alignment. People will feel both drawn to you and unsettled by you. Some will say, there's something different about you. Others may distance themselves without knowing why. But you will know. It is the light. And light always reveals who is comfortable with truth and who is running from it. This is also why God has separated you. Light must be guarded in its early stages. A candle in the wind is fragile, easily extinguished. But once it is sheltered and fed, it becomes a flame, then a fire, then a torch. That is what God is doing with you now. He is sheltering your glow in solitude so that, when the time comes, it will not flicker under pressure. It will blaze. Do not mistake this transformation for arrogance. You are not being made superior. You are being made available. Available to heal with your presence. Available to comfort with your silence. Available to pierce through confusion with your clarity. You are being emptied of flesh, so you can be filled with spirit. And when you finally accept this, you will never again mourn the loss of who you once were. You will rejoice in the birth of who you have become. So embrace this truth. You are light. You do not need to chase affection, for your glow will draw the right souls at the right time. You do not need to force connection, for light recognizes light. And you do not need to fear being alone, for light never walks in darkness. It creates its own path. Chosen one, let these words settle deep within you. You are no longer flesh desperate for meaning. You are spirit wrapped in skin, carrying radiance, designed to shift the world. Your silence is sacred. Your purity is powerful. Your presence is prophetic. And soon, the very glow you carry will become the testimony that God does not just save, He transforms. We have journeyed through truths few are ever permitted to see. You now understand that what felt like emptiness was actually fullness in disguise. What seemed like loss was preservation. What looked like silence was a symphony of preparation. God did not take away your desires to punish you. He silenced them to purify you, to protect you, and to prepare you for the life only you were destined to carry. Look back for a moment. Every craving that vanished, every attraction that died, every relationship that never bloomed, all of it was divine choreography. Heaven was saying, not this one, not here, not now, because your soul was never ordinary ground. You are sacred territory, and only the divine decides who may enter. You are a temple of light, and the fire within you was too precious to be scattered, too rare to be wasted. Through this season, God has shifted your focus, initiating you into the sacred mystery of celibacy, rewiring your energy body, protecting you from soul ties, leading you through the wilderness, and transforming you into a vessel of light. Each step, though painful, was a promotion. Each silence was an elevation. Each absence was a crown placed in secret upon your head. And soon, what was hidden will be revealed. I need you to grasp this. You are not broken. You are chosen. You are not behind. You are precisely on time. You are not empty. You are overflowing with power the world cannot yet see. And when the moment arrives, when God's perfect timing unfolds, you will understand why the waiting had to be so long, why the silence had to be so heavy, why the refining had to be so intense. Because only then will you be able to stand in the fullness of your calling without crumbling. Chosen one, let peace settle in your bones. Let clarity fill your mind. Let light rise in your heart. You no longer need to chase, to crave, or to question. You need only to walk one step at a time in the assurance that heaven has authored your story with flawless precision. And now, here is my invitation to you. If this message has stirred something within you, if you feel the confirmation echoing in your soul, then I urge you, subscribe to this channel right now. Stay connected to this flow of divine messages so that each word, each revelation, each call to deeper purpose reaches you in the very season you need it most. Click that button, not just as a gesture, but as a declaration that you are walking in alignment with what God is speaking. Your destiny is unfolding, chosen one. And though the world may not understand it, heaven rejoices. You are not walking in vain. You are walking in light. And soon, the radiance you carry will shine so brightly that it will illuminate not just your path, but the paths of many who are still searching in the dark. Go forth then, walk boldly, live purely, stand firmly, and never forget, you are not merely surviving the silence. You are being transformed by it. And transformation, when it is born of God, always leads to glory.